Which were the most popular EVs in Europe and China during the first half of 2025? What have the latest round of tariff talks between the EU and US produced? And how has one tech partnership announcement sent shockwaves through the fleet sector? This is the Automotive Update, presented by AutoVista24. I'm Phil Curry, Special Content Editor for AutoVista24, here with the latest edition of the Automotive Update. Let's explore the last 7 days of headlines from AutoVista24 and the wider automotive industry. This week, we buried ourselves in the latest data from EV volumes, analysing the European and Chinese electric vehicle markets. To discuss this with me is AutoVista24 journalist Tom Hooker.
Hi Phil, how's it going?
Not bad, thanks Tom, and thanks for being here to discuss this. And let's take a look at the European EV market first. I know there's been a clear leader in the battery electric vehicle or BEV market this year. Did the rest of the top 10 also remain stable?
Not quite. So you are correct about the leader, the Tesla Model Y, which is comfortably ahead of its sibling, the Model 3, after the first half of the year. The two are looking to replicate their full year results in 2022, 2023 and 2024. However, while the Model Y is 29,000 units in the lead, which seems to be almost insurmountable at this point, it won't be as easy for the Model 3 to hold on to its position.
And why is that?
So European models are much closer to the sedan than 1 year ago. If we look at the European BEV standings at the halfway point of 2024, the Model 3 had a gap of over 20,000 units to third. Now, that same gap is just 219 units. And to make matters worse, it isn't just one model close enough to put pressure on the Model 3, it's 5.
That sounds like quite a lot, Tom, so don't leave us in the dark. What BEVs could put an end to Tesla's stronghold?
Well, currently the closest challenger is the Volkswagen or VW ID4. The brand also has its ID7 and ID3 in 5th and 7th, which are not that far behind. Then there's the relatively new entrant, the Renault 5 and Alpine A290 in 5th, which has seen a very quick delivery ramp up. Lastly, the Skoda Enyaq in 6th also has a chance to take second.
And is the plug-in hybrid or PHEV market also seeing this level of competition?
It is. Actually, in some ways, it's more competitive. This is because there's a very close battle for the win. While the Volvo XC60 led the year-to-date standings from January to May, the VW Tiguan squeezed past it to top the table at the halfway point. Currently, just 89 units separate the two SUVs.
Interesting. So is it between those two models then to take the PHEV title this year?
No, there's one more model which we need to consider. It's the BYD Seal U, and it could throw a bit of a spanner in the works. It started the year quite slowly. It didn't even appear in January's top 10. However, the Chinese SUV has slowly crept up the table and now it sits just 2,000 units away in third. So it's definitely worth keeping an eye on the PHEV sector during the second half of the year in Europe. But speaking of Chinese models, I think now is the perfect time to talk about the highest volume EV market of China.
And China really is experiencing a different year in 2025 in terms of the models that are topping the charts. In June, the Tesla Model Y rose to the top in the monthly BEV market, recording its highest volumes thanks to quarterly reporting. June was also the second time this year the model has recorded growth in volumes year on year. But once again, the Geely Guillaume Xingyuan did well to take second place, while the BYD Seagull finished third. The Wuling Mini ended the month in fourth place, but it has now slipped away from its rivals in terms of annual volumes.
So it sounds like quite a change in China then.
It is. In previous years, it's been the Tesla Model Y that has led cumulatively at the halfway stage of the year. But in 2025, it's the Geely Guillaume Xingyuan that led China's BEV market at that point, and quite comfortably too. The BYD Seagull and Tesla Model Y jumped up a position each to second and third place respectively, so the US model is sitting quite far behind the leading spot. The Wuling Mini fell from the runner-up spot to fourth at the halfway point of the year.
And how about the PHEV market? What happened there?
Well, June was a similar story to the rest of the year in terms of BYD domination in the PHEV market, but the BYD Quin Plus took the top spot for the first time, while the Song Plus found itself second. The BYD Seal 06 is seeing a resurgence, taking third place in the month.
So, what did the market look like at the halfway point of 2025?
There was no change in the top four places at the halfway stage of the year. The BYD Song Plus and the Quin Plus led in first and second, despite both models losing volume across the 6-month period. The BYD Song Pro remained third, while the Li Auto L6 held on to fourth, but only just. It could soon lose that position to the BYD Seal 06 if results continue to favour the BYD model. Now, this is really just a snapshot of our EV coverage. This week, we also covered the global plug-in market. So, if you want to find out what the best-selling EV worldwide in the first half of 2025 was, as well as get the full lowdown on the European and Chinese markets, just head to the links in our show notes. To get all of our news right to your inbox, sign up for our email. It's as easy as going to our homepage at autovista24.com and scrolling to the sign up page at the bottom. Check out Autovista24's YouTube channel as well. There you'll find our What Is Explainer videos, launch report series, and webinar recordings. And of course, subscribe to the Autovista24 podcast wherever you listen to us. The EU and US have issued a joint statement establishing a framework for what it calls a fair, balanced, and mutually beneficial transatlantic trade and investment. This confirms and builds on the political agreement reached at the end of July. The statement lays out in detail the new US tariff regime toward the EU, with a clear maximum all-inclusive tariff rate of 15% for the vast majority of EU exports, including strategic sectors such as cars, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, and lumber. Regarding passenger cars and car parts, the 15% US tariff ceiling will apply together with the EU initiating the procedures for tariff reductions in relation to US products. Industry Association ASEA has said it is encouraged by the confirmation that the United States will reduce its tariffs on imports of EU passenger cars from 27.5% to 15%. This confirmation is a positive step that provides greater certainty for our industry, stated Sigrid de Vries, ASEA's Director General. It is now crucial that the Commission proceeds to implement the EU's commitments without delay, mitigating the tariff impact, which has already cost car makers millions of euros in duties every day. Hertz Car Sales has joined Amazon Autos, giving buyers an opportunity to browse, finance and purchase from a selection of thousands of used cars. As Amazon Autos' first fleet dealer, Hertz Car Sales is expanding the available inventory on Amazon Autos to offer a wider selection of vehicles from brands such as Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, Nissan, and more. Customers can now browse the company's listings on Amazon Autos, complete their purchase online, and pick up their vehicle at Hertz Car Sales locations. Initially, this would include 4 US locations, with plans to expand to the company's 45 sites across the country. Some battery news now. And Nissan has entered into a partnership with US-based LiCap Technologies to develop production process technology for the cathode electrode of all solid-state batteries. The collaboration aims to accelerate the commercialization of these next-generation EV batteries. Meanwhile, Hyundai has filed a patent application in the US covering a method of allowing copper to be used inside the cells of solid-state batteries. As reported by Electrive, traditionally the material has been avoided in its environment because sulfides are corrosive, forcing manufacturers to rely on nickel or stainless steel. The move could provide a breakthrough for copper use in solid-state battery technology. Also in battery news, to meet the upcoming requirements of the new EU battery regulation, Mobility Sweden and the Norwegian Billimportarens Landsforening have entered into a strategic partnership. Electrive states that with the cooperation, the partners are pursuing strategic goals including laying foundations for a circular and sustainable battery economy, maximising environmental benefits, and ensuring efficient use of resources around EV battery recycling. The Automotive Update is taking a short break and will return on the 5th of September. Thanks to AutoVista24 journalist Tom Hooker for appearing in this episode. Additional thanks go to AutoVista24 editor Tom Gegas. The music was Better Find a Solution Fast by Richard Ames. Thank you for listening to the AutoVista24 podcast.